We can get so caught up with all the different aspects of a story that we sometimes forget about the simplest of elements, but one of the most important: pacing. Pacing is what keeps your readers engaged and turning pages. If it's too slow, they'll fall asleep. If it's too fast, they'll be left confused. Hi, I'm your writing coach, and this is my channel where you'll always find tips and advice to help you improve your writing. Today we're looking at the idea of shadows and how to use them in your stories, but more importantly, how not to use them. A prepped. The problem. To make doubt up. There are two types of shadows in literature: literal and metaphorical, and today we're exploring both. But let's start with the metaphor. You see, in every story, whether it's contemporary or set in the distant future, there will be moments of conflict, and those conflicts will have consequences. Now, these consequences aren't always physical, they can also be emotional or psychological. But either way, every decision in a story has some kind of consequence, which means we need to deal with the fallout. And that fallout can cast a shadow over your characters, your plot, and your themes. Let's look at character first. Let's say your protagonist is running from a deadly assassin through a dark and narrow alley. Suddenly, he trips on something lying in the shadows and falls to the ground. The assassin closes in for the kill. In this scene, the word shadows has a literal meaning. It refers to the darkness cast by the buildings lining the alley. But this literal meaning creates a metaphorical shadow too, the shadow being the danger lurking around every corner. This single line can hint at all kinds of things. The danger could be coming from the assassin, yes, but it could also come from the environment, maybe a collapsing building, an unstable fire escape, or a broken glass shard. Or perhaps the danger isn't outside at all. Maybe the protagonist has been wounded and he's bleeding out, unaware that the assassin has already slipped past him unnoticed. He could even be hallucinating the entire scene. What I'm saying is this: when you introduce shadows into your story, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities. Your characters can be physically or psychologically affected by them. They may need to confront their fears head-on, or they might run away, which of course has its own consequences. But shadows don't just affect our characters, they can also shape our plots. Let's take, for example, the classic rags to riches story. Our hero is poor and downtrodden, living in poverty and struggling to make ends meet. His life seems devoid of hope until one day he finds a wallet filled with money, and suddenly his life takes a turn for the better. He's able to buy new clothes, food, and a place to live. For a while it seems like his problems are solved, but then the guilt begins to eat away at him. You see, the money he found wasn't his. It belongs to a dangerous crime boss who will stop at nothing to get it back. And now our hero has no choice but to run for his life. What began as a hopeful story has taken a darker turn. The shadows of the past are catching up to him, and he must face the consequences of his actions, if he wants to have any hope of a happy ending. So what do we learn here? When introducing shadows, make sure you explore how those shadows affect your characters, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically too. And remember, a single sentence can cast a long shadow. A little goes a long way. Do you want to try to cram too much darkness into your story, or else it'll feel forced and unrealistic? Now let's talk about literal shadows. How does that work? Well, let's go back to that alley scene. We know that the buildings lining the alley create shadows, but what if those shadows become more than just a source of danger? What if they become a character in and of themselves? That might sound weird, but hear me out. Imagine that as our protagonist is running through the alley, he begins to notice strange shapes moving in the shadows. At first he thinks it's the assassin, but then he realizes it's something else entirely. The shadows themselves seem to be alive, twisting and turning as if they have a mind of their own. Suddenly, the protagonist is faced with a choice: run from the shadows or confront them. If he runs, He might be able to escape the assassin, but he'll be forever haunted by the shadows. If he confronts them, he might be able to understand them, even control them. And that could give him the power to defeat the assassin once and for all. By introducing this element of magic realism, you can take your story to a whole new level. Your readers will be on the edge of their seats, wondering what will happen next. So when using literal shadows in your story, think about how those shadows can interact with your characters and the world around them. Can they be controlled? Are they dangerous? Do they have a will of their own? The more thought you put into it, the richer your story will be. Another option you have is to use shadows to foreshadow what's to come. Let's go back to that scene in the alley. As our protagonist is running for his life, he suddenly remembers a line the assassin said earlier. "I've been hunting you for a long time." The protagonist had dismissed the comment at the time, but now it takes on a new meaning. Could the assassin have been following him this entire time? Has he been living in danger without even realizing it? By foreshadowing the danger, you can create a sense of unease and suspense. Your readers will start to wonder how much of the story they've misunderstood and what other secrets are lurking in the shadows. So when using shadows to foreshadow, think about how you can use dialogue, setting, and even characterization to hint at what's to come. Remember, a little foreshadowing goes a long way. Don't try to be too subtle, or your readers will be left scratching their heads. So now you understand the many ways shadows can enhance your stories. But remember, like any literary device, they should be used sparingly and thoughtfully. When done correctly, shadows can add depth, suspense, and magic to your writing. But when done incorrectly, they can leave your readers lost and confused. So keep this in mind the next time you sit down to write. Who knows, you might just craft a story that's truly unforgettable. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you got some value from this video. If you did, please click the like button. And don't forget to subscribe. Every week you'll get a video like this one helping you to improve your writing. So check out the description below for links to my website and social media. Finally, remember this: you're just one story away from changing your life. See you next time.